Hi and welcome back everyone. Here's a quick tutorial on teaching children how to throw effectively. We're going to look at the basic throwing skills, and then at the end we'll throw in our 3 top tips so that you can have an even greater impact when teaching children how to throw. Throwing skills are very important, be it sports, physical education or everyday activity. So we've broken it down into 3 simple steps, making it much easier for us to teach and for children to understand the basic concepts. The first step is the before phase. This is when we get prepped to make the throw. In step 1, we're going to ask children to grab the ball with one hand and hold it to their ear as if they're making a phone call. With their other hand, they're then going to point in the direction that they want the ball to go, usually to a target. At this point, it might start to look like that sprinkler dance. And during this phase, children are going to work out how much power is needed to get the ball to the intended target. It's worth reminding children to take their time during this process. It's quite a complicated phase and it's important that they get it right. It may sound counterintuitive, but placing more energy and effort in this phase will produce a more accurate throw more quickly later on down the line. Step 2 is the during phase, so this is the actual throw itself. You're now going to ask children to push their throwing hand forward, almost as if they're casting a rod. You might also liken the action to a cannon or a slingshot. And you're going to swap the position of the arms. The arm that was pointing is now going to come back, and the arm that was throwing should now be pointing at the target after you've just released the ball. Give children time to experiment as well so that they can practice throwing at different angles. High angles where we see the ball loop or loft through the air, and more direct angles where it gets to the target much quicker in a much flatter trajectory. Here we can see the throwing action in all its glory, and the 2 hands changing positions as the throw is made. And finally, step 3, footwork. We can use this to add heaps of power onto our throw, increasing the speed and the distance. The first thing that we can do here is transfer our weight from our back foot right through to our front foot in a kind of rocking motion. Ask children to twist their hips and rotate their body as they throw. This is an important part of the kinetic chain, which we'll see in a moment. And children can also have a run up before they throw. Each of these in isolation affect the power of the throw, and all 3 together amplify it much further. Here we have the rocking motion as children transfer their weight from their back foot to the front foot, and we can see the clear rotation of the hips, which allow us to get heaps more power onto our throw. And now we have the full kinetic chain. Energy being placed through the front foot, twist of the hips and then the arm before we release the ball. And as promised, here are our 3 top tips. Firstly, we need to make sure that we are praising the children for the right technique and trying to get as much accuracy on the ball. Power comes later. When we focus on accuracy, we look more in depth at the technique. Once children have built up this technique, not only can they throw more accurately, but they'll also be able to throw with more power as a byproduct. Our second tip is not to rush the children. It's a very complicated skill with a lot of moving parts, literally. They're probably going to make a lot of mistakes as well as they work through that trial and error process. So be patient with them, let them experiment and let them learn. And our third tip is to stick with small group or paired practices. It might be tempting to go for a 4v4 netball or handball match, but the reality is there's just too much going on, and as a consequence our technical development suffers. Instead, focus on paired cooperative games where children can focus purely on the technique. The more repetitions they get in our PE lesson, the quicker they'll be able to unleash an accurate, powerful and awesome throw. Thank you for watching this week's video. If you enjoyed it, then please like and share the video with anybody else that you feel may benefit from it. And as always, remember to subscribe so that you can catch next week's video. I'll see you then.